Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my summer 2019 quarterly writing wrap-up. I put this off a little longer than I usually do. I gave myself a little bit of a grace period because of the start of the high holidays, but Rosh Hashanah is now over and I am moving into Yom Kippur mode. It is time for judgment. So I divide this blog into sections, starting with my quarterly overview. And it's been kind of a difficult quarter for me in terms of my writing. I got a rejection on a short story I had out on submission that I wasn't expecting. It kind of caught me by surprise. Guess it's a reminder that rejection is always a writer's closest companion. I also was looking forward to a certain event at the end of last month in September that ended up getting canceled. I belong to a writing group that actually exists under a larger umbrella organization. So the founder of our entire sort of organization is upping her marketing actually as someone who has facilitated a lot of emerging writers to join critique groups and get their writing off the ground. And she has a brand new website and everything that I'll link down below. And she was hoping to do a writing retreat, a local one in DC, but that there would be some exercises and you'd be able to tailor it to your personal projects. And so I was really excited about all of that. Not only about trying to get, well, my fantasy project in my case off the ground, but also just for the opportunity to meet more local writers. But unfortunately there just wasn't enough interest in it overall, and so she had to drop it. I guess I can't be too disappointed, at least on an events level, because I have a similar event happening through the MWA, the Maryland Writers Association, in just a couple of weeks. And so that should make up for the fact that I wasn't able to attend any chapter meetings this quarter. But my own individual writing group continues to go very well. I was mentioning last quarter that we started up the group again after a long hiatus, and we have been meeting regularly ever since, every 2 to 3 weeks. And several of those times the entire group has been able to make it, including just earlier this week. So that's very important to me, not only to maintain those relationships for the sake of critiquing and getting my own work critiqued, but these people have become some of my closest social relationships now. It's always a pleasure to be able to see them. So yeah, no need to end this section on too much of a downer note, because I can always find some silver linings. Talk about a smooth transition, not, but now I'm going into my favorite blog posts. I'm primarily making these videos to chronicle my fiction writing trajectory, but I do a lot of writing month by month that's nonfiction, particularly with my 3 blogs. So I went ahead and I picked my favorite entries from the 3. So I'm starting with my blog Jewish DC, which chronicles events in the DC area. And over the summer, it's a pretty dry time in terms of events. You know, people are away and all of that, vacationing. So I decided, since nothing was popping out at me in July, that I should go to the American History Museum, because, you know, it's right in my backyard and I know that there are Jewish artifacts there. So I figured, you know, that still falls under the purview of Jewish DC. So I did a little research, and then I took an afternoon and I hunted like a scavenger hunt through the museum to find these artifacts. I took some pictures, I wrote some notes. So I'm just kind of proud of that ingenuity, and a reminder of how cool it is to visit museums. Then I have my Hava's Footsteps blog, which is a sort of more broad blog about both Judaism and pop culture. My most recent entry definitely falls within the Judaism camp because I was preparing for high holidays. The last few years I've been writing pretty involved posts about news of the Jews of the last year, but this time I decided to be short and sweet and to the point and talk more about my personal goals. I've had a lot of angst about connecting with Jewish issues and Israeli issues primarily through internet toxicity, And I've been trying to get more involved with my synagogue and with in-person things, and it's been up and down. It can be difficult to sort of be on your own in a synagogue setting. But last Passover, the synagogue hosted a Seder, a community Seder, and the rabbi leading it dropped the news that we were going to have a community-wide trip to Israel coming up next summer. And I knew from the start that that was something I should try to pursue. And in the last few weeks, they've officially opened up registration, and I went for that, and I'm currently trying to see about applying for financial aid, and I should see about renewing my passport. So yeah, I think it's going to happen, and I'm excited about it on a personal level, about fulfilling this goal in terms of being more present in person in terms of my Jewish identity, and I think it's going to be a great trip. I'm hoping it's going to all go smoothly. And finally, on my reading and writing blog, I've realized that I do a lot of repetitive material on that blog, which I'm fine with. I kind of like, the annual traditions part, but sometimes I try to break out of the mold a little bit, and it's especially exciting when I'm trying to interact with the writing community. And so I decided a few months ago to do that with a post on publication options. I focused specifically on my literary fiction novella because I felt like that wasn't something I saw a lot on similar how to get published posts online. Not a lot of people are writing literary novellas, and I wanted to give my thoughts about what the proper course of action for me would be for getting that novella published, and then also my thoughts on just the publishing world as a whole in terms of what's available through traditional and self-publishing. I'm not sure that I use the most universally accepted definition for the term hybrid, but overall I'm pretty happy with my breakdown of publishing options. I hope it's helpful or informative to people, and I will leave links to all of these blog posts down below. Okay, time for the pain with my summer 2019 goals recap. Kind of feels like my quarterly overview because I'm starting bad and going to good. So let's get it over with. My first goal was to edit my literary novella in the Shiz Gets Real revision. And I made it all the way through 10 chapters, but then I had to do a major rewrite on chapter 11, and so far that scared me off, and I haven't completed it. To be fair, I only have chapters 11 and 12 yet, although I probably should reread and still continue to tweak a little bit on the whole story, but yeah, didn't finish it. My second goal was to write a new political short story, although at the end I gave myself the caveat that maybe I could try to complete a private story that I started last quarter based off of a Harry Potter role-playing game that I had been involved in once upon a time, and fun fact, it inspired a lot of my literary fiction novella. But anyway, I haven't done either of these completely. I made some major strides on what I call the Padma story, which is the private story, but I didn't complete it, and I haven't touched any political story ideas. In fact, I've kind of run from it, even during writing meetings when we're discussing who should submit next, and I feel like, well, that's my time to say I'll submit next and write this story. And I know that what I'm running from really is my fear of writing something political and how that would come off, and if it would be legitimately good writing or if it would be dogmatic or how people would take it. I know I've been really afraid of that, and I should stop. First of all, I should stop thinking in terms of it being published, because who knows if that'll ever happen. But I just want to see if I can write this, and so sometime in the future I know I have to get back to this and just see if I can write it. And my final goal bears the good news. I completed 2 sections of SFWA world building prompts for my fantasy project. I'd been talking about it for quarters, and I finally actually got it done. It was a little bit of a mixed process. The questions got pretty deep into the weeds sometimes about like economics and world histories in ways that I didn't go that deep into, but I did ramble some things off, and it did help me occasionally to think of areas that I should be targeting my research. But I won't be continuing with these world building exercises, at least not for the foreseeable future, because this next quarter is the big quarter.
Shame. Shame. Shame.
So yeah, on to my fall 2019 quarterly announcement. It's the NaNoWriMo quarter of the year. The big dogs are coming out. I'm still only sticking to 3 major goals for myself that I am mapping to the 3 months of the quarter. I feel like I should do this more regularly every quarter, but particularly for this one, it kind of has to be this way. So my goal number 1 is for Preptober, which is of course my nano-related word for October now, where we prepare for our upcoming projects. And for me, I want to do the snowflake outline for my fantasy project, because I want to do that for NaNoWriMo. I've struggled with the snowflake outline before. It's a very in-depth outline for plotters, and I've mostly done plot-averse literary fiction in the past. I'm hoping for my fantasy project, especially now that I have the world-building questions swirling around my head, that it'll be a little easier. There's definitely some plotty stuff that's going to have to happen, and I'm going to spend next month trying to work out the kinks. In that vein, I'll link to some Snowflake Method info down below in case you're interested. One of the things that helped me the most is a set of YouTube videos put out by an author tuber where he went through each of the sections of the snowflake outline with examples from his own work in progress. Although granted, they were more specific in the beginning when the questions were more vague, and then he was more secretive at the end because, you know, he didn't want to give away spoilers. And alas, this person is no longer active and his blog has been deleted, I guess, so that's a shame. But the videos are still funny and helpful, so I'll link those down below. My second goal of the quarter is my Sweet 16 NaNoWriMo. I can't believe I've been doing it this long. It's also NaNoWriMo's 20th anniversary, so the headquarters seems to be all excited about that. And of course, as more and more time goes on, I'm realizing that I've been involved in Nano for most of its own career now, so that's pretty exciting. But anyway, that's my goal. My goal is to write my fantasy project for Nano, although I am always a Nano rebel, or at least I have been for the past several years, and they've been my best years of Nano, where I've gotten good work done on a bunch of projects that I can stick with throughout the rest of the year. So I'm excited and nervous. And my final goal might be the most difficult of all, just because it comes in December after I'll be exhausted by the rest of this. But I'm hoping in December to finish my Shiz Gets Real revision of the corners. I just got those 2 chapters, and well, I'll read through and tweaking, but I would really like to get a strong Shiz Gets Real draft done by the end of 2019. So that about covers it for me now. It is October, but it is still scarily warm in the DC area. I come out of work and am blasted by humidity, which is actually kind of nice because they're keeping the AC on kind of high at work. I can't imagine November being anything but cold, but who knows? Another thing I will be doing for Nano November is weekly vlog videos like I've been doing these past several years, so you'll get a little bit of a taste, I think, of what the season is like, and hopefully a good writing journey along with it. I hope those of you engaging in Preptober are having a good time of it. I've already seen a couple of excited videos on AuthorTube about announcing projects and all of that, so I'll probably be keeping up with some people to see how the month goes, and then of course Nano Month as well. It's an exciting time for all of us, lots of momentum going. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. Keep writing, and I'll see you next time.